Hey y'all, Intently Amy here. Thanks for joining the channel. And once again, don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment when you do so I can say hello. In this video, I'm going to share with you how we've started our garden right here in Texas. Now, it's a little bit of a mini garden right now on our mini farm, but we're hoping that it's not a long-term mini garden as it's just getting started. So one of the best practices that we read about right before we started it was to make sure that you germinate your seeds inside prior to spring. That helps so that you can actually grow your plant to a nice, kind of, I would say like small size right before the spring, so that when it gets warmer, the ground isn't hard anymore. You can plant your plants in the garden outside and get a beautiful harvest sooner than if you were to germinate and plant your seeds once the frost has thawed. So here in Texas, our last frost is about the second week of March. We did get a really cold weekend a couple of weekends back, but since then it's been warming up, it's been raining a bit, so spring is definitely upon us. Now, we started germinating our seeds about 2 weeks ago. So I would say one of the mistakes that we made was that we didn't really start our germination process early enough. It took us a little while because we were really trying to learn, what do we do? This is our first time growing a garden here in Texas, and so we wanted to make sure we had the right vegetables, the right fruits, and the right flowers or herbs before we actually put them into our little pods. I'll show you exactly what that looks like right now, but very simply, what you'll do is you'll take a look at the seed packets that you are looking to plant, and you'll just want to make sure that it tells you on the back when the best time to plant them is and to harvest. So we looked at all of the best summertime plants before we actually bought the seeds. The other thing that we were really looking at and making sure that we were aware of is what our zone is and what time of year it's best to plant certain things. So your zone is important because it really indicates when you have spring, summer, fall, and winter, and can give you that variation of time and then the best times and seasons to plant those herbs, vegetables, or flowers or fruits that you're looking for. So when I show you ours, very simply what we did as a getting started is we just bought the 72 pack of the peat moss tray at Home Depot. Now, was that the best purchase? Looking back and kind of doing more research now, I don't know that I would have purchased the 72 pack and done everything at one time in one place. I was watching a few other videos the other day, other YouTubers who have done this for a long time, and what I learned is that it's really best to get a size of pot and a size of tray that matches the size of the plant, because they will outgrow their space. Now, for example, when you see ours, you'll see that the tomato plants, the tomatoes were the first to pop up and they're already outgrowing their space. So it's really time for us to take those out and then put them in a new environment so that they can continue to grow and flourish before we plant them outside. Usually the process of germinating and seeding them inside will take about 4 to 6 weeks before you'll actually take them out and plant them in your garden. We're only a couple of weeks in, like I said, so we're really seeing these tiny baby plants, but they are sprouting really fast. So it's really fun to watch. Now we've done 6, maybe 7 different types of flowers, plants, vegetables, and fruits. And we've split them up into this tray. It's super important that you remember to label everything, making sure that you keep all of your fruits, vegetables, and plants in their own rows. We did have a couple of rows where we had to split the plants. So we've got, in our hot pepper row, we've got hot peppers and jalapenos. We also have a row of lavender and mint. So a few different things in our mini garden right now. What I've noticed is that we tended to overwater in the beginning. So what you want to do is in these trays that you buy, they're pretty pretty simple to set up. The first thing that you'll do is pour the water in, and you'll watch that peat moss grow and the soil grow, and then you'll plant the seed. Now, every day we had a tip, and this might help you as well. What we do to keep it moist and to keep it humid in that environment is we spray with a bottle. So you're just gonna take some water in your spray bottle every day and kind of spritz it, and that's going to keep that humidity and the droplets of water going right through all of the mini garden. What we started to notice in ours is that one, the temperature was a little bit too warm, and so then there was a lot of humidity in it, and the watermelon seeds started to mold. So what we read was it was best to just take that seed out, throw it out, and start new. The watermelon is really the only thing that we've noticed is molding, and so we may not have a ton of watermelon this season. But other ones have done really well, include the hot peppers, the onions. We also have the lavender and mint that is seeding and sprouting, as well as the sweet peppers that we planted as well. And I should mention those tomatoes. The tomatoes are doing great. They were the first to sprout and are the first to really grow and almost exceed their space. So we're probably going to be moving those out soon. The other piece of this that I wanted to share is that we did buy lights. So at first, when we did our seeding, we had put the tray in our kitchen somewhere kind of warm with a towel underneath so that it didn't get cold on bottom and it could stay about 70 degrees. And then we turned on our kitchen lights, which we have two different bulbs. We have a white bulb and a yellow bulb. That worked for a few days until we got our lights in the mail. But the lights that we did get, which I will link out in the description, are awesome because they have a timer, which allows us to use the lights for that 14 to 16 hour period that the plants need right now in their germination phase. And it also gives us that brightness that we need. So once we put those lights over the plants, it was amazing to see how quickly they started to sprout and come up compared to how they were at the very beginning. It just felt like it was happening a little more slow. And so now that those lights are on, it's happening very quickly, and we're seeing that growth. Like every time we walk into the kitchen, we see and we kind of check on our little seedlings to see how they're doing, and it seems like they're growing every second, and they're just getting bigger and bigger. All right, so a couple of things I'll recap for you as we're getting started in our garden. Again, this is our first time doing a Texas garden, and so we haven't even yet shown you our project to build the garden boxes out back, but I will showcase that in an upcoming video, and I will also share my top 10 mistakes for starting your own garden here. But to recap in this video, a couple of things that I mentioned that you'll want to be mindful of as you're starting your own garden is, one, choose the right time. Make sure that you're starting your garden early enough in the year. Second, make sure not to overwater it because it can get too humid for your seeds to germinate. They could start to mold. And third, make sure that you have enough space and that you have the right size of the peat moss. If you're going to use those little pods, which they're really convenient and great to use, make sure you have the right size for the plant that you're planting, because otherwise you're going to have to replant it within that 3-week time period of it growing out of its germination box. All right, well, that's it for today. I'm really looking forward to providing you more information about our garden and keeping you posted on how it's going. Be sure to tune in and watch our other videos as we give you more insight into owning a Dogo Argentino and life on the mini farm. I'm so excited because we are working on getting our mini animals soon, and my next video is going to be all about preparing our land and what we've had to do to prepare us for mini animals on our mini farm. So stay tuned, be sure to tune into our other videos, and don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment when you do because I'd love to say hi.